So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for Edessa, the Dark Crusade, where we are right back in the stables, where Oktar is only just paced out, gone ahead and departed for the evening, one might suppose. And Mina has only just finished up, just taking ever so kind care of his horse and his tack, and is setting the saddle back up over the stall door, the bridle already hanging on a peg alongside, and with a ever so broad smile, is taking up a few things, a bit of this and that, and will go ahead and go ever so casually strolling after her brother. Perhaps a bit longer strides, a little on the eager side, but just playfully strolling, very pleased with herself.
She'll look over as Garnet's sitting there, staring at a poetry book, just reading. But when Mina comes in, she'll actually hear him talking to someone, almost like he's stretching out his hand, but there's nobody there. And then he goes back down and looks and starts reading again.
I assume this is a habit she's seen before?
Very rarely, yes. She would have seen it one or two times back in France. And always was very eerie.
It certainly is. And so she slips open the door and sees this particular gesture, something that she doesn't see frequently, and kind of pauses, losing just a touch of the overenthusiasm, just a touch of the energy as she doubts.
He'll lift up his head, and as she's creeping up along, I'm assuming or even if she's not, he doesn't see.
She pauses at the door.
Oh, even better. So he lifts up his head and stretches his hand out, and almost like he's stroking someone's cheek. He will say the following: "My peace, oh, my brothers and sisters, is my solitude. My beloved is with me always. For how can I substitute your love and his love? Test me among these mortal beings. Why are these visions always so there of my joy and life abidingly? And such if I die of it, such a contemplating satisfaction of it all. Crone, father, mother." His eyes blink as he almost just leans back in the chair again, relaxing.
She continues to linger there, perhaps with her hand on the door handle, kind of glancing back and debating whether she would be interrupting. She'll maybe like put a foot back.
And when she does, we'll just say for almost timing the floor will creak and Garnet will look around. Mina.
And she'll tentatively readopt her smile. Am I interrupting?
No, of course not. Why would you be interrupting, my darling?
She adopts a faint, playful tilt of head. You know how much you like having a chance to sit and read.
Reading does always bring such wonderful sights and sounds.
And yeah, she'll have perhaps dulled somewhat in her enthusiasm, but goes ahead and slips in, pressing the door shut behind. And we'll look to come and join him, hopefully being able to sit just alongside him.
Oh yeah, he'll sit down and even like take his hands in hers. She'll notice his hands shake, almost with this excitement to them.
I mean, all things considered, what is he sitting on? Is this something where she needs to be like plopped on the arm of the chair or on his lap, or is he on a
Probably, yeah,
bench?
probably his lap. It's kind of like one of those like regular sort of like carved wood chairs.
Then yeah, assuming he makes room for her, pushing the book aside, or setting aside, or holding
Mhm.
aside. Yeah, she will just fold happily into his lap. You seem excited, brother.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't I be? Can't you hear them?
Not clearly, not like you.
Look around the room again. His eyes seem to slowly scan. She watches him scan each particular thing, and then rests his face on hers and twists his head to the side. No, not like me. That's what Mother used to say. No one saw things like her little Garnet used to see.
And she'll pick up a hand, kind of set it so that it rests just beneath his chin, thumb kind of playing at his jawline. We can't all see as much as you.
No, they used to scream so much about how I was so horrific. But they changed so much. But that's when they came. Hmm. It's like they've read right into my very soul, Mina.
Don't they, though?
But I can feel all these things of damnation. And they always remind me of that misdirected passion Mother was so guilty of. And the thrill, Mina. Like, look at his hands, and I mean, they are tremoring with excitement.
The thrill, brother.
To see everything and nothing. To know how it all began and how it all will end. To watch each spectral vision pass through you like a wave. To realize that you yourself are a conduit of it all.
And she'll kind of gingerly reach down and take up one of the shaking hands. And using her own, will guide it up to her cheek to try to kind of redirect his attention. Damn it, I had something I was going to say and it fucking slipped my mind. Fuck, what was it? It was good too. God damn it, it had to do with their mother. No, it's gone. Fuck it. It's just gone.
Mina just sitting there awkwardly.
She's probably still interacting a bit, and she'll still probably do the whole gesture of drawing up his hand, setting it on her own cheek, just kind of pressing it there lightly with her own hand so that he can still move it if he wishes, but it's something to try to jolt his attention just a bit.
Oh, these things we play. These games. You know, they all seem to think they know exactly what we're planning. They don't really, do they?
Dear brother, they don't even know who they're looking at.
No. That man, Gerard Ventrue. I may not like Ventrue. You look over at Mina. But he can grant an enemy, a very, very enemy that I can wipe out. And if I hear correctly, and I make sure I hear the right thing, I'm going to find out if the La Sombra hate him too. Oh, the games we'll play.
Her smile has returned. She will reach down, plucking up a small, just a little plain, probably very light leather drawstring pouch. I'll hold it up at a dangle.
He doesn't appear to notice. He seems to be staring off in the distance, like he's looking out at a field or something. Do you want to know why I despise Madeleine and even Johanna to a certain extent?
And her head tilts, and her hand lowers. Why is that, my dear brother?
Assumptions and arrogance. Reckless pride limbed by self-righteousness. In the end, what are they masters of? Nothing. They are masters of nothing. But yet they claim to harness such control. But what are they truly controlling? Their own idea of control or some self-deluded fantasy?
And she narrows her eyes for a half moment. And have you seen what I've seen, brother?
I don't need to see. I know. It's the way she talks and smiles. The way she wants you for her lessons. The way Johanna said, I haven't had a Malkavian on her arm. As if she would expect us to serve. As if we would be nothing else but slaves, one way or another from both of them.
Isn't it that much easier to win the games when they're playing blind?
Precisely. I don't have no interest in pawning Johanna or scheming her. Why would I touch something that's already been fed? She may wear her badge of being targeted as a warning, but she wears it as a badge of pride. Why one like that? I mean, I'll play my games, but I have no interest in that. Madeleine. She thinks she knows who we are, but she is about to find out something very, very dangerous about me.
And her tongue snakes out for about half a second, just long enough to touch her lips before a smile blooms again. And which is that?
You look over at her, stare. We're mad. Completely and totally insane. And what does one person never wish to do? With someone who knows exactly what they are and has embraced it.
She adopts a faint tilt of head again. Do tell.
Hmm. You scratch his head and reach over and whisper into her ear very softly, "Do you have my gifts for me?"
She adopts a faint pout, the change of subject, but again rouses up the bag.
Good. He'll take the bag softly and lay it down and open it and stare inside.
And yeah, there's several longer hairs pulled lightly from the mane, coiled in there, and a handful of clippings of various sides from where she's clipped away the frayed ends of the reins, some of the straps on the saddle. Nothing too terribly large. The longest is maybe, an inch. But it's enough, in
Did you
theory.
see did you see the Tremere's face when he tried to frighten me?
I wasn't standing too close.
His eyes, so intriguing, but revealed so much with his display.
Are they?
Not not very wise. But he serves my needs. I'll let him think he's the one in control. And in reality, lean over. He's about to play a very important role in creating such chaos. Such a wise man he is. Do you know he tried to say the wrong parts of France to me?
What do you mean?
He said he was from Normandy, close to where we live. We're from Marseille. Opposite sides of the country. And I smiled at him. You don't think he expected me to smile?
And why do you think he played such a game?
Testing us. They do like to bolster their displays of what they are, after all. They wear it all on their sleeves. I'm just but we are but humble Malkavians. Humble and plain. And completely enveloped in what they are. That they don't even see it. That is the true chaos of it all, Mina. We're right in front of them. And they'll never even know we're there.
They don't, do they?
They only care about themselves. Damnation is a fickle thing. But once you truly accept it and who you are, well, you'll do anything. Once you dip your hands in and wash it over your face, who knows what comes out again? Now, you'll turn and look at her, and raise an eyebrow. Are you pleased?
Why wouldn't I be?
Only you seem to be wanting something.
There's the faintest kind of pout. Admittedly, with all this talk of dipping into damnation and whatnot, she's eased in just a wee bit closer, nestled up just right against his chest.
He'll stare at her, twisting his head ever so slightly.
She pouts just a wee bit more, finally reaching up to kind of brush a finger down the line of his jaw towards his chin. We did have an agreement.
Did we? And what agreement was that? Lean forward into her, staring. That stare is so fucking intense, it's not even funny.
And oh, if only she could be bothered to flush. And so she tilts her head one way. You get what you want? And slowly tips it the other, turning her eyes back up right at the end. I get what I want.
And what do you want, Mina?
And whichever hand happens to be resting on his shirt tightens slightly in the fabric.
I see. What do you think you want?
I want you.
Do you? Why?
Does it matter?
Of course it does. It always matters.
And their lips press together again. Just rolling thoughtfully off to one side. Finally cracks a faint grin. Wouldn't it ruin the game if I told you the answer?
And wouldn't it ruin the game if I gave it to you?
She
Because
immediately sulks.
he stares at her, twisting her head as he lifts her chin up so they're like nose to nose. Which would you rather, a chase or easy prey?
And again, the sulk just kind of deepens a bit. And with their lips that close. Even though they're brushing, she'll still just speak, albeit a little more haltingly. Where's the fun if it's always chasing and never pouncing?
He'll very softly plant a kiss on her cheek, and then on her lips, and then on her other cheek. Mina, I thought you wanted me. But yet you don't know me, do you? Not in the way you think. Maybe I'm letting you chase so much is because I like to see how more far you'll be willing to go for me. Because do you want Garnet, who everyone sees? Or for just you to see? I'm about to do something bold again. Where are we?
Goodness.
Edessa. Right, I'll just do the best sort of one. It's only the weird one in the world.
Yep.
3 successes on that them appearance subterfuge though.
Aw. It's just mean. She gives a bit of a squirm, but certainly isn't trying to get out of his lap or out of his grasp, or even away from him. Just that's kind of an involuntary motion.
Cause, do you know what I really enjoy, Mina?
The eyes narrow thoughtfully, but she'll wait for him to follow up with the answer.
Well, do you? Raise an eyebrow.
And she adopts a pout. I don't think any answer I have is quite deep enough. And I'll always be wrong.
Then you don't know me very well, do you? If you think that is what I was going to say. I thought I gave you plenty of a sign. Maybe you were just too focused on the idea of what you could have.
She almost looks hurt.
But, but, he'll play his fingers along her lips, almost actually pushing along them. Doesn't mean I'm offended. I'm rather surprised.
And once the fingers have passed, which is admittedly monstrously distracting, turns a glance back up. I don't feel like there should be any shame in admitting that there's more than I can see and hear.
Perhaps I won't let you pounce until you've actually seen it.
The lip pouts out again.
Because he reaches up and kisses and playfully bites her lip, not drawing blood,
Yeah.
playfully bites it, and leans back. Where's the fun? Where is the true understanding? If you're only scratching the surface, expecting me to tip over.
But he sits back and she has a second to get her proverbial breath back. She'll start just kind of playing with the front of his tunic, trying to distract herself a bit.
In
We don't
fact,
get to spend as much time together as we used to.
in fact, have I ever seen you kill someone, Mina?
A playful tilt of head is
None of
adopted.
you think it's easy to take a life. That's thrilling. Have you ever seen someone's soul literally die inside their eyes?
And she finally, she leaves off whatever initially she meant to say. It adopts kind of an inward kind of searching expression, where the eyes dart a bit thoughtfully. I'm sure they thought they were.
No, then you've not seen it. You lean forward so forward. Like, I mean, he's all up there, like to the point where he is literally his hand moved past her, so he's literally over her. That 6'5" frame, mantis-like
Yep.
frame, just coiling. When they look at you and they realize that you, the final thing that they're going to see, not because you slit their throat quickly, but you have punctured it all in, taken away their very everything. In that moment, they accept it. They accept they are nothing.
In between the looming and the narrative, she's grown visibly more excited. There's just that lively little glint to the eye. And that vague sense of tension, almost fight or flight style, kind of coiling as he looms up over her.
And then they
No.
realize if only they had stuck to the right ladder, they wouldn't have fallen so far. And we wouldn't be waiting. If you can give me that, Mina. Huh. He'll smirk. While they watched, lifeless, and nothing. Who knows what I would do to you?
And there's the brief kind of, not overall just trembling, but that brief kind of rush.
Because to become a god, one needs reverence, and one needs terror. First, before worship.
It slowly tilts. Her eyes stay locked on his. But just
Because
that considering.
a conduit, as he traces up up her dress, and onto her thighs is the skin. His fingers almost dance up along her leg. Becoming a conduit of these spectral things is not enough. It's never enough. As he looks around almost wildly. One must attain what they truly are, and what we truly are is damned. So why not rule? Why not be chaos itself, the god of it? Who can tell us otherwise?
And it's somewhat involuntarily. Her fingers have grasped and tightened into his shirt. And yeah, she keeps the locked stare, meeting eye for eye. But yeah, she's. What's the word I'm looking for? Essentially, like, kind of reaching critical mass. It's not so much that she's shaking or trembling, it's just there's a certain expression, there's a certain tension, and yeah, just a sense of pressure. And she finally gives a very, very small nod, whether it's agreement or compliance. It's really kind of up in the air. When you put it that way, I think I should like to do it even if you weren't watching.
Just remember who you're looking into. You never know who is truly watching you.
Let your eyes narrow briefly. If she opts not to inquire further. Perhaps not so certain that she wants the answer.
And that smile, probably for the first time, might normally that evil smile is something that delights me. This one might probably be the first thing that unnerves her. It's wicked.
I mean, the response in her case to things that scare her is pretty marked in that she gets just that touch stiffer. The hands might shift in his, where she's grasping at his shirt to what is, instead of kind of a desperate cling, a more tactical hold. But she lights up not in joy, but just with the thrill of it. Not so much happy as very, very alive in the moment, as it were.
Alive in the moment as Garnet rolls something. Who? You know that fear you're feeling?
Uh-huh.
As Garnet suddenly, like a force grip, grabs your shirt and pulls you right up to him as dementation hits you, ramping that fear up. Because if the crone finds you, will there be anything left of you? And if the mother watches you and finds you wanting, then you'll be on the father's scales, letting her peck your liver out, and your eyes, and your tongue. And you only wish you could scream. You realize that the sin you couldn't commit is the failure you'll always be.
And yeah, between the swift grab and the dementation, she gives a shriek when he pulls her up. I mean, she doesn't ragdoll it for what it's worth. Her fear response is generally fairly violent. So yeah, he may well end up with a scratch on his face or neck as a result.
Mm-hmm.
Just as she reflexively lashes out, she'll give a kick and a proper thrash, and actually try to wrench herself violently. Maybe not keyed to land on her feet, but all things considered, to at least get a little bit further away from that hand in that face.
And that she actually gets him a good shot in the face as he drops her. Not out of pain, but just lets go as blood does start to trickle down, almost like he's deliberately doing it. And begins to take slow steps towards her. And then you realize, in your terror, the three figures that you claim to hear and see, they're you. They're me. I am their conduit, Mina. And everything in this city should fear me. For I will not stop until I get what I want, ever.
Yeah, she takes a bit of a tumble, but she's athletic enough that she'll be quickly in a crouch, and especially as he rises and starts striding after her, even more quickly on her feet, kind of bristled, perhaps a little hunched, but she will give a step for everyone he takes.
And he will
But
walk
tensed
again.
as though expecting him to snap out again.
Oh, hot damn. Okay. And then when he reaches out, managing to just touch the sides of her hair, but I would never harm someone I truly care for. Smiles so sweetly and heavenly. I would never harm my sweet sister, for she knows everything and has been given the gift that I would have. Why would I impede such growth, such delicious sin?
What's that roll there, buddy?
That's dementation.
I was keying it back down.
Yes.
Smart cookie.
Yes. Intelligence 4. Emma's very smart cookie.
And he reaches out, and she looks like she's on the verge of lashing out again to the point where she may well even snap at him if he had put it too near to her face. But then she slowly just. Suddenly it just drops. That sense of intimidation, that sense of threat just is suddenly gone. And so he manages to get the hand around, to touch her hair, perhaps to fiddle it a bit, but she's still obviously in the process of winding down.
He spreads his hands and takes thee into thy arms and find peace. And don't you find peace with me, Mina? Almost like he's like, come on, hug me.
Yep. No, and there's kind of potentially something of an emotional crash because that intense rush of everything. There's a lot of chemicals and things involved in emotions, and when they suddenly are depleted again, it can be just as jarring as having them stirred up in the first place. So she takes a moment, but goes from slightly less tense to suddenly kind of a falling expression. And as the tension just kind of floods out of her, she very responsively steps very quickly into his grasp, putting her arms around him, hiding her face in his shirt.
Did you get what you want?
There's a very quiet little, well, straight mute. Just he can feel the sensation of a little knot against his chest.
But now we're knowing each other completely, aren't we? But she can't see it, but that smile.
I imagine she's still riding off the fucking rush. So yeah, she doesn't even look up. She just keeps the arms around him, keeps her brow kind of placed against his chest, and again, he can feel as much as see the nod.
Hmm. Let's take you home then, and I'll make sure you're nice and taken care of.
And it's muffled by his shirt. But it still manages to eke out. You're too kind to me, brother.
Of course. I just want to see you grow.
She'll pull back just enough to kind of tilt her head up. And she probably has to go up onto her toes. But will nonetheless lay a kiss on his cheek. Thank you.
He plants her a very delicate kiss on the lips and will begin to walk hand in hand back to his haven.
And while normally she might restrain such thoughts more thoughtfully, yeah, she's still riding off of what amounts to a hellish adrenaline rush. And muses aloud. I don't see why she sent me to learn from someone else.
Because she was afraid of me.
She should be.
Smiles and gives her a very tender kiss on the lips, like properly passionate. Yes. Yes, they all should. She opens the door for her haven and lets her inside.
Aww. And yeah, she stumbles along like I mean, almost like a drunkard, she has indulged rather deeply. And yeah, I dare say that is a fine place to call it. So, unless you have any objections, sir,
No.
I'll say thank you, players for playing and watchers for watching. We will see you next time in Edessa, Dark Crusade.